I'd like to start with and taking a look at global economies. We are aware that several economies around the world are in recession. Nigeria has not been spared. Our GDP contracted by 3.62% in the third quarter of 2020, leading to the second consecutive contraction in 2020. Technically, we are now in a full-blown recession. Now, the measures taken by governments around the world to actually reflate the economies have been diverse, but many have used fiscal measures and tax incentives have been prominent amongst the tools that have been used. Tax incentives have been used to grant palliatives, which has helped to cushion the effect of the pandemic on their businesses. In Nigeria, the federal government has done similarly, and our tax authorities have granted several tax incentives to businesses as palliatives. But we must remember, in the short run, the sum total of granting tax incentives to businesses leads to a reduction in tax revenues. So when we talk about the practicality of achieving the budget of 1.49 trillion, we have to think about three factors. One, the size of the budget itself. At 1.49 trillion, it represents 7% lower than the comparable budget in the revised 2020 budget. So actually, you can say it's moderate, and government has been conservative in setting the expectations for 2021. However, we also need to consider the state of the global economy, which is still in the throes of the pandemic. The global economy is not expected to recover for another 1 year or so, and this will be riding on the back of there being vaccines available to actually address the COVID-19 virus. Given the pace of development in the vaccine arena, we believe this target is achievable. But the question is, will the Nigerian economy recover faster than the global economy? This is not likely. Then we come back to the third issue about the actual effect of the pandemic on businesses in Nigeria. We are in a full-blown recession, and in a recessionary economy, businesses have their top lines being challenged, and that also challenges their bottom line in terms of taxes. So it's going to be very challenging to achieve those numbers. I believe 2022 is a more realistic year of achieving our tax revenue budgets and projections similar to our expectations. Now, when I move on to the second part of the question, in terms of striking a balance between our tax revenue projections and granting incentives, I would like to remind us that I said in the short run, the sum total of granting incentives actually lead to a reduction in tax revenues. But these incentives are very important to reflate the economy and set us on the path to economic recovery. So businesses need them to grow, to achieve profitability, and ultimately increase their tax revenue yields. However, the time horizon to achieve this effect is in the medium term and not the short term. So to achieve a balance, we have to be looking towards the medium term.